The next exercise we're going to look at is 3-note, 16-note timing. So the skills that you learn in 1-note, 16-note timing are really going to help you with the application into 3-note timing. Hopefully this is an exercise many of you have done in middle school or your high school percussion classes. But basically what it comes down to is you really want to be able to count every single measure you can play. All right, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and get into some of the nuts and bolts of this exercise. So when we get into 3-note timing, it's again a 4-2-1 exercise. So I'm going to go ahead and bracket off the 4s, and you're just going to do the 4s one time. And then here you have the 2s, and they repeat, right? So you're going to do the 2s 2 times. And then, of course, the 1s at the bottom we have a repeat, and we're going to go ahead and do those 4 times so that it all evens out. Like I said just a minute ago, the most important thing is that you can count it, that you know how to count every single measure. You have your measures of check and your odd measures, and then your even measures, you have your 16th notes. So in the first pattern, we have 1E and then of course it's that for the rest of the measure, 1E and, 2E and, 3E and, 4E and. We could tell it's this rhythm because you have 2 16th notes and an 8th note. But basically, we're leaving out the 4th 16th note, right? When we go into the 4th measure, we are actually leaving out the 3rd 16th note. So we have 1 and E, but we leave out the and then we have a. So then for the rest of the measure, it's 1E, a 2E, a 3E, a 4E. And this is probably the trickiest rhythm that we have in this one. A lot of times people really struggle with it. So as I've said in some of our other rhythmic issue things, break it down one note at a time. Just play ready, go. 1E, a 2. Ready, go. 1E, a 2. Now put 2 together and 1E, a 2E, a 3. 1E, a 2E, a 3, right? And then 3 and then 4. Just isolate what you need to and practice that. The nice part about this one is every single note does line up, or every beat does line up with a note that you will always have, and it will always be with your right hand. So that's something that's helpful as you're going through this exercise. All right, then third set is 1 and a. All right, and then the 4th set, your feet are going to fill in the rest, E and a, and then your foot's on 2 and 3 and 4, and every time it's E and a, E and a, E and a. The stickings on all this are critical, and I really haven't mentioned this yet, and I'm kind of kicking myself now for not, but all of these exercises that we're doing utilize something called natural sticking. And what natural sticking is, not quite alternating. What it means is we have 1 E and a. So if it's in the 1 or the and, it's with the right hand. And if it's the E or the it's with the left hand. So that is what we have throughout all of these. And you might say, well, it's easier for me to go right, left, right in this measure. But if we always do things with the natural sticking, then we always have a sticking that we know to use. So I really am going to recommend, in general, using natural sticking. And on these exercises, you have to pay attention to the sticking because we're all trying to do the same thing and look the same way. All right, when we get into the 2s, it's nothing too tricky. You got your check, and then your first pattern, your check, and your second pattern. It's all very logical. And then same thing in the 1s. The 1s just happen to come by pretty quickly as you're doing them. In terms of pitfalls, this second pattern a lot of times throws people off. They have a hard time getting 4 in a row. And then I would say this last measure of the 4s, making sure we can mark time to it, that also throws people off. But in general, in terms of other pitfalls, just making sure that your sticks are the same height throughout and that you don't accidentally add any accents. But hopefully this one will come pretty naturally to you. I think that a lot of you have done it in the past and you're not going to find too much of a challenge in it, with the exception of maybe marking time. So we'll see. At this point, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Preston, who's going to demonstrate it.